Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. Tonight we're doing a full review of my Swatch Sigan. So let us begin. In my previous video, I showed you what it is like to unbox this great little watch. And in tonight's video, we're going to do a full review of it. So let's flip the camera around and take a look at this watch. Okay, so here is the box that the watch came in, and here is the watch itself. So tonight, we'll be looking at this watch beginning at the buckle, working up toward the watch itself. Then I'll put it on my wrist and show you what it looks like when you're wearing it. One of my favorite features that all of these classic Swatches have is this. These center bar buckles, butterfly buckles, whatever they're called. Those are super cool. Work up toward the watch. So there's a very slight taper to this band, this strap. You see it's plain on the back. And as I mentioned in the unboxing, you'll notice the unique Swatch style lugs. And the pins are just held in by friction. So you need a little tool to poke that, and it'll come out here, and then use little pliers or something to grip it, and then you just pull it out. So they kind of have drilled lugs. Here we have a little bit of branding. And I think that these are 17 millimeter lugs, if I remember correctly. I always shop for them by the watch collection or the watch line. So this is a gents style watch. So if I'm looking for bands for it, I will look for gents Swatch bands. All right, let's move up to the watch itself. Looking at the case back, you see the battery there, with the battery cover. And these are cool. You can take a coin and use that to unscrew this, and then it just pops off. I wouldn't really trust this in water at all. Although when I was a kid, I swam in these and they all survived, but not now that I'm older, no. I avoid water. I just treat them like a dress watch. And then we have patented, water resistant. Not so much. And this is cool. I saw this in another watch, I think about a week ago, where the battery type was printed on the back. I actually didn't notice that on this one till right now. That is really cool. Super handy to have the battery type right there. So when this dies, I know exactly what to replace it with. Even if perhaps I took the battery out so that it doesn't leak all over in the watch, and then I end up having the watch sitting there for a while before I buy a replacement. So maybe I no longer have that old battery handy. I do have this. And looking at the sides of the watch, we see that it's fairly thin. The case is. It does have a box crystal, so the overall thickness is greater. It is just nice and basic there. All plastic, so everything is completely encased. There's no way to get to the movement. But this is quartz, so it should be going for a while. That is the only problem with the mechanical or the automatic, the System 51s. You can't regulate them or service them in any way. So yeah, once they start going bad, you have to just toss it. And we see at the crown, it's really tiny, but we have a little indent there to make it easier to grip for when you need to pull it out. That's pretty cool. So let's see what it is like to operate this. Again, that is a really tiny crown. So let's see. Not too bad. With that little inset, it does make it easier. And again, this is quartz, so the only time you'll be using this is when you have to adjust the time. There's no date, so you'd never have to deal with that. But maybe for daylight savings, or it's been going long enough to where you need to move it forward or back a minute. And you see that it does not hack, so you're not going to be getting any super accurate setting on this, like down to the second. Alright, so the crown is very tiny, but yeah, again, I'm only going to be using it to set the time. Push it back in. Yep, nothing jumps around. Perfect. The dial on this watch is so great. It's kind of a warm white color, and it has black painted on indices, and that is such a great font. I absolutely love that. Look at the ones and the 7. It's kind of a Bauhaus type of font. The black dial variant has white indices on it, and these dots here just outside of those on that watch are green, which looks really cool. And here we see there's some green on this one also. The hands are basic stick hands. I like that huge counterweight on the seconds hand. You see that the minute hand reaches nice and far out there to the minute track. The hour hand is pretty close to the markers there. And the second hand goes all the way out to the edge. That is a great looking dial. And there's the box crystal. I absolutely love box crystals, as many of you already know. And this watch looks nearly identical to their originals from the 80s and 90s. However, this box crystal is actually taller than those originals, just by a little bit. But when they're side by side in person, you can see that it's just a bit taller than the originals. Look at that distortion. That is so cool. As for the specifications on this watch, this is the Swatch Sigan, the S028N101. It is 34 millimeters in diameter. It has a thickness of 8.75 millimeters and a lug to lug of 39.2 millimeters. It is waterproof to 30 meters, and it is part of the 1983 collection. The case material is biosourced material, is how it's described. And I'm guessing that means that it's bioplastic. And bioplastics are plastic materials that are produced from biomass. Vegetables, oils, cornstarch, wood chips, stuff like that. Some bioplastics are biodegradable, and they're produced to be so, to be environmental. Hopefully this is not one of those. That would be bad to have this watch biodegrade on you. But when you look at it, you can't really tell any difference between this and any other plastic. It is a little grainy, but it's almost like it's just a matte plastic as opposed to a glossy smooth. So that is likely not even an attribute of this, but just the design of the watch itself, the finish of it. Alright, let's put this on the wrist and see what it looks like. So here is the Swatch Sigan on my 7-inch wrist. I love the proportions. I love the overall look of this watch. That is so cool. This thing is pure nostalgia. Totally reminds me of middle school, skateboarding, wearing multiple swatches on the same arm. It reminds me of hanging out at the mall where I got my first swatch. I remember trading these. Who knows how many different swatches passed through my possession, just trading them amongst one another. That is so cool. In my unboxing video, I mentioned the ticking. If you haven't encountered a Swatch in person, they tick really loudly. Apparently Timexes are also known for that, and I personally love loud ticking quartz watches. If a watch is gonna tick, make it tick super loud. It's fun. So I'm gonna take this and hold it up to my microphone, so hopefully you can hear it. That is so cool. So there you have it, a full review of my bio-reloaded Swatch. I love swatches. I own about 10 of them, everything from gents to new gents to a pop swatch. And in future videos, I'll be sure to share those with you also. Thanks for watching.